Hi, everybody. I'm back on today. All right, so our new topic is going to be the clue on the stone. Okay, so I know that I have a music video on. Actually, I have two of them, but the second one is better. Called Spelling on the Stone. The actual song is called Spelling on the Stone. And at the end of the song, he says, check the spelling on my stone. Elvis has a middle name spelt wrong on his stone. Now, there's many questions. Why? Why did he have his name spelt wrong? Well, I remember correctly when we watched the Elvis movie. I'm sure you guys all watched that. He told his father, "I want you to spell Aaron the Hebrew way from now on." And that was like after he got his badge and everything else. There are many documents that show Elvis's real middle name starts with one A. So we have one, which is a picture of his social security card. And you notice it says Elvis Aaron, Aron, Presley. There is, let's see if I can find it. There were other documents as well. There was his marriage certificate to Priscilla. On his marriage certificate, it's spelled Aron with one A. See if I can find it now. I have it up here on this phone, on this iPad somewhere. Give me 1 second. Anyway, okay. Well, here's a signature from a looks like a record set that was kind of engraved on here. But if you notice, they spell his middle name with one A, Aron. Well, why is his gravestone spelled with two A's? In the press release of this book, The Truth About Elvis Aaron Presley, he writes the second A means alive. Linda Hood Sigmund had said it was a numerology thing because his brother's memorial stone at Graceland is gotJessie instead of Jesse. Now, this is interesting. This is the investigator medical examiner report. And notice how they spell the middle name Aron. And there's also something else special about this medical report, which we'll go over another day. All of his major records were written with one A. I don't know why I can't find the other ones. I don't know if they're on my computer. His birth certificate, his library card, his high school diploma, all have one A. The only birth certificate that has two A's is a reissued birth certificate that he needed. They put two A's because people tend to write Aaron in a Hebrew form quite often. No, I can't find that. Must be somewhere else. Okay. I thought I had them all on here. All right. Even the book here has Aron, right, as his middle name. So I'm going to read you an excerpt from Is Elvis Alive by Gail Brewer-Giorgio. And she questions the same thing. She questions the same thing. Sorry, my cat knocked us over. Okay. Fate was not tempted, and the gravestone reads Elvis Aaron Presley. I have not been the only one to question why Vernon misspelled Elvis's name on the grave. A great majority of the fan newsletters and segments of the media have noticed the misspelling. Why they cannot understand what they cannot understand is why his name is misspelled. I would return that question and without missing a beat and without exception, and the answer was I think Elvis hoaxed his death, and I don't think Elvis is buried there. The majority, though, as James Bacon underscored, feel that Elvis Aaron Presley did not die. They also say, down. Sorry. Get down right now. Get down. No. Sorry about that. She's knocking stuff off my bureau. All right. Maybe she wants attention. I don't know. I'll give it to her later. All right. What was I? All right. I'll just say the majority, though, as James Bacon underscored, feel that Elvis Aaron Presley with one A did not die. They also say they understand why. Some even said they predicted that a faked death would be his only way out. Every day I receive more calls saying the same thing. Perhaps they want to believe. That's understandable. But so many too have provided additional information. In fact, there is a group who want to petition for the opening of the grave. They do not believe he died. Therefore, they do not believe he's buried underneath that stone marker in with the misspelled name. It is difficult to write about such a confusing puzzle. Every turn of the page requires probing. Yet when the probing is done, the puzzle remains incomplete. By various newspaper pictures, I have noted immediately that Elvis's middle name was spelt incorrectly, but the year 1979 was still too early to see how the enigma fit into the larger picture. Later, after Vernon died, I would note something strange, and then when Elvis's grandmother, Minnie May, died, it would become even stranger. It's quite clear without too much elaboration that Elvis Presley adored his mother, Gladys Love Smith Presley. Everyone who knew him said he was devastated by her death and that he wanted to be with her. That he always said he would be buried next to her. Beside her. The truth is further accentuated by the fact that her body was moved from the first resting place at the Forest Lawn Midtown to the white marble crypt at Forest Hill. This was done because the family stated burying Elvis in the one place the body at risk of kidnappers. The crypt offered more security. Thus, Gladys was moved to lie beside Elvis, as Elvis often said was his wish. Both bodies of Elvis and Gladys were moved to Graceland. When talked of exhuming the body of Elvis became a risk. Vernon placed them in the meditation gardens. Their stones lay side by side as it should be. A few years later, Vernon died, yet instead of placing Vernon's grave to the left of Elvis, so that Elvis would rest between his mother and his father, Vernon's stone is in between Elvis and his beloved mother. In other words, Elvis was buried between his father and his father's mother, not next to Gladys. This might not seem significant in most cases, not with Elvis. There was no reason to place anyone between Elvis and his mother. They are they were there first. To have it end up that Elvis between his father and his grandmother is out of step with Elvis's posted desires, unless, of course, Elvis is not buried there. And if he is not buried there, neither is his father or mother. I believe Gladys is still in the crypt, as is Vernon and Minnie May, a friend of Elvis suggested. I read in one magazine that the funeral home billed for only one moving of the body. The charge was over $3,000, which must be the charge of moving Gladys from her original grave to the crypt. What about the charges for moving both bodies to Graceland? Were they actually moved? Was anyone moved? Somehow, in all the confusion ordered reigned, within hours, Elvis's body was reported autopsied, taken to the Memphis funeral home, embalmed, returned to the mansion early the next day. Because the cause of death was from the beginning a mystery. Elvis was encased in a specifically designed casket weighing 900 pounds, which was found to be flown in overnight. Okay. So if he had died on the 16th and his body came back early the next morning after being readied and everything, that seems a little fast. I mean, usually it takes a couple days at a funeral home. And sometimes autopsies take a while. So he rushed, that was all rushed. And another strange thing was happening on August 16, 1977. Research of various biographers show that the colonel, rather than returning immediately to Memphis, flew to New York, where he met with the owner of a large merchandising firm. A deal was made to the merchandise Elvis via, all right, the colonel's company, Boxcar Enterprises, owned 56% by the colonel and 22% each by the Presley estate and the colonel's assistant, Tom Diskin, which means that all of the money that came in from nearly 100 souvenirs marketed, Elvis received the least in revenues. So anyway, the colonel was ready and was taking care of business. It's still Elvis and the colonel, but now it's Elvis and Vernon Presley and the colonel. And the colonel told the people on the telephone that week, according to Jerry Hopkins' Elvis: The Final Years, Elvis didn't die, the body did. We're keeping up in good spirits. We're keeping Elvis alive. I talked to him this morning, and he told me to carry on. Okay, I don't know how true that quote is, but there were some documents here that she had, pictures. They're very small photographs, but I wanted to show those to you. I'm gonna find them again. Okay, and they're not very big. So this is the certificate of live birth, and you see on here it says Elvis Aaron, Aron, right there, Presley. So that's his birth certificate, Aron spelled. This is his marriage license with obviously Priscilla. And if you noticed here on his marriage license, how is his middle name spelled? Aron. Okay. But on his divorce papers, which I saw, it goes Aaron, which means they spelled it the Hebrew way. And so that's a good question. Why is he buried between his father and his grandmother at Graceland? That's a good question she asks. She also asks a lot of other questions. And she talks about Cairo's book of numbers and so on and so forth, which we went over numerology. yesterday. So I think there's a little video clip that I have. I don't know how to do that here. So I will put it down at the bottom of the description of a couple people. One is that star, I can't remember her name now. My brain's in fog. She says he would never look at his name on a grave spelt the way it's supposed to be spelled if he was in it. And I think Dr. Hinton said the same thing to the news one day. All right. So to check the spelling on his stone is a clue that he left behind for everybody to know that he is still here and he is alive. Now, people are going to call me crazy, and I know they are, but I don't know if somebody who writes his own book, his own handwriting, is wrong. All right. Anyway, I hope everybody enjoyed this little tiny live. It's kind of boring tonight, I think, but I think I wanted to show you guys some proof that he had staged his death. All right. So there are other clues involved, and maybe I'll come on tomorrow night with another clue. And maybe some clues about what he said to his family members and his friends that gave them clues as to what he was going to do. Now, some didn't realize it. They thought he was joking, but he did. And why was a casket 900 pounds? Well, that's a good question. And let's go over that real quick. Okay. And I'll link another video down at the bottom about that, a clip, because I'm not quite sure how to do clips here yet. I'm learning this live streaming. I haven't figured it out. I think I might need a special app or something for that to put like video clips or whatever on the screen. So one video clip is from, I'm not sure if this is actually Elvis's voice, but it sounds a lot like him. It's through a channel called Jesse Burrows. All right. Jessie Burrows. All right. He talks about the body being ordered, and he ordered the body from somebody in Hollywood, excuse me, that was very good at doing it. And he said that he gave him this photograph. It's like him in the 1950s, and he wanted his face to look like the photograph, but with his eyes closed. Okay. So in Elvis Aaron Presley, in his own words, it says, I will start about 1974 when the first thought came to me about faking my death. I have always been fascinated with the occult and other spiritual things. When I first saw the wax dummy for myself made by a Mr. Cooper, I was fascinated with it. For some time, I had thought if it was possible, could I pull this thing off? I had asked Mr. Cooper if he could make another wax dummy for me. He said he could. I, in turn, said I wanted him to do it and to keep it strictly confidential. And when I mentioned it to my very close friends, Joe Esposito and Larry Geller, they did not think I was serious. But he says, I was tired of being Elvis Presley. My health was deteriorating and I couldn't keep up. He said, my finances were floundering because of dad's poor business ventures, but also he was losing royalties and things like that. So he was at his wit's end. And that's all I'm going to say right now. Is that in Also in the tape, that Gail Brewer-Giorgio had, she asked him uh, something about the body being wax in the casket, and he said, um, and she goes, "The wick must be pretty large." And he said, "Yeah, and if we had lit that wick, there would have been a massive meltdown of the century." 'Cause he said it was all wax. The body was wax. Okay. Gene Smith, who Elvis was very close to. Gene Smith was his cousin, and he went on, and I'll put the clip down at the bottom as well, on Elvis Files, and he said a bunch of things about the body. When he looked at the body, he said the sideburn looked like it was falling off and the glue was loosening and it was sweating. And he said it didn't look like him. And he also said his hands were as smooth as a baby's bottom. And he said Elvis's hands were always calloused, cut up from doing karate, and so on. He said did not look anything like him. Although a lot of other people said the same thing. Okay, said it didn't look anything like him. So why was the casket 900 pounds? Because they claimed that there was some type of air conditioning unit inside the casket to keep the wax from melting on a hot summer day. And so, obviously, we know if we look at the picture of Elvis in the casket, which I can put on maybe a community thing, or I don't know how to do it up here. So, but if we look at the picture of Elvis in a casket, give me a second, I'm going to look it up for you. And it does not look like him. I mean, it looks like him, but it looks like a younger version of him. Anyway, so I do run a Facebook page called Elvis the Man is Alive on Facebook. It's a group page. You have to to join that. I will put a link on there in the description for that. To join it, you have to fill out the answer the questions quick, easy, and you can get right on. And you'll get all kinds of information on that page about everything. Trying to find photograph and make it easier. Give me a second. Actually found a colored photo. And it was also said that they weren't allowed to touch it at all. Like the guard would like keep everybody away from the body. They weren't allowed to touch him. I don't think that looks like Elvis on just like the one Elvis when he looked like in 1977. Do you? Let's see. I might have a photo of him in 1977 before he passed. I might have on my computer though. Anyway, I mean, he was a lot chunkier, because he gained weight. Because the other end of the story, which I might cover on my next live, is how he got away with doing what he did. Um, okay, so this is the last known photograph of him the night before he died. Now, that doesn't look like anything like the photograph of him in his casket. This is a combination photograph. Do you think they look anything alike? Let me know your thoughts on that. Yeah, I'll give you a little bit longer to look at it. This is the night before he died. He was leaving with Ginger, and a fan took a picture of him. This is the day of his cat in his casket during his funeral. I think that was a National Enquirer who took that photograph. You can tell they don't look anything. I don't think they look anything alike. Especially the nose and the hairline is too high. I mean, too low. Elvis had a higher headline. Looks like a younger version of Elvis in there. All right. So that's it for tonight. You guys have a great night. God bless y'all. And we'll see you another day. I'm not sure when I'll be back on. Probably in like Friday or something because I go online. If you want to see more live streams and stuff, join the group on Facebook. You will get live stream readings of this book in its entirety. I also do Orion as well, which is a Gail Brewer-Giorgio fiction book, but everyone seems to like that book. And we'll talk to you later. Bye. God bless you all.